Platform 111. Mumbai at night is a different city. The daytime crowds become thinner, the lights become harsher, and every sound feels like it's coming from a speaker hidden inside the walls. People say the city never sleeps, but after midnight, it doesn't feel awake either. It feels watchful. I was at Inderi station, waiting for the last local. My phone was at 2%. I'd had a long shift, and my brain felt like it was wrapped in cotton. The only thing I wanted was a seat and the familiar shaking ride home. The station clock above platform 2 was stuck at 111. It should have been funny. It should have been normal. Old clocks break all the time. But the announcements were still going, cheerful and automatic, and every time the voice said, "Arriving shortly," my stomach tightened like it knew it was lying. An old man sat on the bench beside me. Barefoot, white kurta, the kind of face that looked carved from tired stone. He stared at the tracks like he expected them to answer him. "Last train, right?" I asked, mostly to fill the silence. He nodded without looking at me. "Last train," he repeated. His voice was soft and dry. Across the platform, a woman in a yellow sari stood near the edge. Too near. She didn't sway like tired commuters do. She didn't check her phone. She didn't look around. She just stood perfectly still, as if someone had told her to freeze and she was afraid to breathe again. The old man leaned closer. "Don't board the train that arrives at 111. I gave a small laugh. "The clock's broken." He didn't smile. "That's why." Before I could ask what he meant, the lights flickered. The long row of tubes above the platform dimmed and came back, slightly dimmer than before. The air got heavy, like the station had filled with warm water. From the tunnel, I heard the approach of a train. Not the normal roar. Not the normal wind. This one rolled in slowly, too smoothly, as if the rails were oiled. No announcement. No warning beep. No rush of air. The doors slid open with a soft sigh. The inside lights were on. The carriage looked clean in a way local trains never do. No ads. No scratched windows. No fingerprints on the poles. Even the floor looked untouched, as if nobody had ever stepped on it. Only one passenger sat inside. A young man in office clothes, head bowed, staring at his own hands like he was waiting for them to move. The woman in the yellow sari stepped forward and crossed the safety line. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look left or right. She walked into the carriage like she'd been called by name. My feet moved before my brain decided. Something about her stillness made my skin crawl. I took 2 steps toward the doors. The old man's hand closed around my wrist. His fingers were cold. Not old person cold. Not night air cold. Cold like he'd been holding ice. "Not that one," he said. "Why?" I snapped. The words came out sharper than I meant. "It's a train." He pointed toward the windows. In the glass, I saw the reflection of the platform behind me. But it wasn't right. In the reflection, there were more people. There was a figure among them, tall and thin, head nearly brushing the ceiling. It was smiling. I turned around fast. There was nothing. I looked back at the window and the tall figure was still there in the reflection, smiling wider, like it enjoyed the delay. The doors began to close. I shouted, "Hey," at the woman in the sari. No reaction. She didn't even blink. The doors sealed with a quiet click. The train pulled away slowly, silently, sliding into the tunnel like a thought sinking into sleep. Then the station snapped back to normal all at once. An announcement blared. A fan rattled. Someone laughed far down the platform like they'd been there the whole time. The clock above us twitched. 1:12. My mouth was dry. "Did you see that?" I asked the old man. He nodded. "Every night, it tries." "Tries to do what?" He rubbed his thumb over the inside of my wrist, right where my pulse was, like he was checking if I was real. "It takes people who are already halfway gone." Halfway gone? Exhausted, grieving, drunk, alone. His eyes stayed on the tunnel. People who won't notice an extra step. A normal train arrived 5 minutes later. Loud, crowded, familiar. People pushed and complained and argued about space like the world made sense again. I should have boarded and gone home. But I couldn't stop thinking about that clean carriage and the woman who looked paused. The next morning, I came back to the station early, pretending I needed something from a kiosk. I asked at the information desk. A woman in a yellow sari, I said. She boarded a train last night, around 1:11. The staff member frowned like I'd asked about a flying cow. There was no train at 1:11. The schedule. I saw it. He lowered his voice. Sometimes people see things at night. Go home. I went home anyway. But my curiosity didn't. I searched online. In Derry 1:11 train. I expected jokes and memes. Instead I found a thread buried in an old forum. No photos. No proof. Just people describing the same thing: silent train, too clean, empty seats, wrong reflections. One comment stood out, posted years ago by someone named @Derry_return. If you see it, don't board. If someone you love boards, don't follow. It wants the second one most. That line sat in my brain like a nail. On my commute that afternoon, there was a missing person poster taped near the escalator. A woman in a yellow sari. Last seen, in Derry Station. Time: 1:11 a.m. The date was yesterday. My throat tightened. I looked for contact details. Reported by husband. Printed underneath was a name. My name. I stepped back so fast I almost fell. People brushed past me and didn't apologize. I stared at the poster again. The letters didn't change. My phone buzzed. A new photo in my gallery. I didn't remember taking any photos. The image was of platform 2 at night. The silent carriage door half open. The woman in the sari stepping inside. And in the window glass, behind her, a tall, thin figure smiled. But this time, the figure wasn't the only thing in the reflection. In the reflection, I was inside the carriage. I was sitting in the empty seat, staring down at my hands. Exactly like the office worker I had seen. I dropped the phone. My fingers didn't want to hold it. The old forum comment returned to me, clearer now. It wants the second one most. I looked up from the poster. And there, across the concourse, stood the same woman in the yellow sari, perfectly still watching me. Her eyes were open now. And she smiled like she'd finally found the person she'd been waiting to report missing.